to one common goal, towards one common goal, and everybody's working and they want to learn. So most times you find that if people train people and then they put you into like a cooperative and stuff like that, and then everybody's working in the same place. So what happens? The moment they learn, feel they've learned, there are people that are like that. They felt that, okay, when they've learned enough, they have arrived, not knowing that there's room for improvement every single time. So once you feel that you've arrived, then you become untouchable or unstoppable as far as you're concerned, and then everybody else becomes what? Just by the way. Now with that teamwork, it can be very competitive, but you need to compete positively, okay? Because you most of them are overly ambitious and they're competing because what they want a promotion, or they want to be recognized, or they want to make themselves feel better. And some people have the tendencies of making themselves feel better by pushing the next person down, which is really unhealthy in a working environment and in teamwork. It's really unhealthy. So most of the time you really need to up your game. Yes, competition can be very healthy, but please, when you are competing, compete to strive to be better and not competing to be able to strive to undermine your team members. You don't want to go.
Wow, that's a very big one there from Mandy.
So yep, and like Reginald was saying, that on Friday we're gonna barge into the marriage side of it, which is a whole mouthful, because there's a lot of things that people don't need to understand in terms of even outside of the marriage, even in workplace. You need to be able to add value. If you don't add value to people, you're not giving them room to learn, you're not giving them room to be heard and understood. It's important to be able, and people also try yourself a standard. You need to know how to give yourself a standard so that you can be able to be valued. Some people don't have any self-respect, they don't have self-regard, they don't value themselves, and they don't love themselves. And when people see that in you, and let me tell you something, if you're always on the talking side and always on the argumentative side, and you always feel that you're right, and you always want to get defensive, and you're always emotional, people are going to use it against you. People hardly ever look at the good side of people. They always want to look at your negative sides and negative points and then capitalize on that. And then what they do, they don't just keep it to themselves. They'll tell A, then they'll tell B, then B will tell C, D, E, and E. So then everybody, and why? The reason why they do that is because they want to discredit you. They want everybody else to form a negative opinion of you. And there you are. So please always try and be as professional as you possibly can. We all have our weak sides. Yes, all of us, we all have our weak sides, but we don't want to come on a professional basis and throw it at the table. Original said something: when you come to work, your mother is not there. It's not your mother's house. It is not your mother's house. So when you come to work, get prepared. We've spoken about this, preparing, in one of our episodes as well. We spoke a lot about preparing. And now when you are prepared, you want to get married? How prepared are you? Do you have your own house? You don't. You're going to get married and bring your wife to stay with your mother, right? And then when problems arise, it's going to be between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law, and you don't want to get caught in that situation. So the same thing at work. Be guided, be respectful, and please avail yourself to be teachable. You can't always think that you have all the technical know-hows. Firstly, the company is not yours, it's somebody else's, and yes, you are brought to add value to that company, to be able to promote the company, and your skills and your talents supposed to add on to what the company already has. Most times, if you go for the interview and they go, okay, you want this job, why are you applying for this job? You have to tell them, and you need to convince them the reason why. And then they'll ask you this question: okay, what value do you think that you can bring to the company based on the fact that they're already established? You were never there, you were just trying to come on, you were never there, but they've already have their own standards and they have their own codes of conduct, and they know how to run their business. But they want to know from you, what value would you add to this company? You need to know. They need straight up answers, they need good, professional and honest answers. So always get yourself prepared.
That was a very good one from Eddie. And with that, we'll come to the next very important part of our discussion today.
Excuse me.
Creating and team recognition program. Creating a team recognition program. You see, when managing people, you need to take time to understand the character of everyone. Sometimes people are promoted to supervisor just because of their interhuman relationship skills. People who know how to work with people are easily promoted because they can get people to do things, and they can talk them into doing things and make them feel good after they've achieved those goals. So these people are easily promoted. And then one word most employees use is, are you a team player? A team player. Once you are a team player, you can work without supervision, then you are ready to work in a team. What does team player means? You learn to respect and play in the role you are given. Some people just like being the head. Once they are not the head, the supervisor, they lose it, and for just their ego and nothing else. So a team player can work. If you put him in the role of a cleaner, he will do it well. You put him in the role of the security man, even if he was a manager or is a manager, he'll do it well, knowing that the team is important. So every single role, a team player is a humble person, knowing when to play by the role he is assigned, irrespective of how demeaning it may look. A lot of people, I remember back in Owerri, a staff of the corporation I was working on had an issue and was suspended. I was given the role in the gate. He was a technician, an engineer, but because of what he did, they pushed him to go and work at the gate instead of sending him home, because they knew that because they didn't want his family to suffer. If they send him home, there probably won't be a salary and his family will suffer. So okay, so let them change his role. While he was there, they monitored to see whether there was remorse or whether he's getting upset at the institution instead of being sorry for what he did. So these are some of the key tests of team players when you move people around. So sometimes as a boss or as a manager, you need to shake up your team, watch their response and how they react. Move them around until you can find out all the qualities and characters of your team. Then you can say who to use where. Just like in a football match, after a good understanding of your players, you now know who to put where. I would have done a better job at a football semi-illiterate, so I can't say
who's the striker, who's the back, who's the forward, and
yeah, good. So it's from understanding the team, and that's why you have a coach who will, and a captain. Even in the essence of the captain, I guess, is to control the pace of the game. So for every single team, there is always a captain. The captain can be the supervisor, but the captain takes full responsibility for the way the team flows and is responsible for the win or lose of the team.
And credit goes to him.
The same thing with a captain in a boat or in a ship. You have a set of people working with him, and he gives all the instructions who to do what. And if they get lost at sea or anything happens, all credits goes to the captain. So if the captain is telling someone to do something and the person is doing the opposite, definitely there's going to be crisis in the high sea. So it's very important as a team player to learn to submit your will to the will of whoever is the captain of the project you're working on at the time. And someday, of course, there might be a project in the company and you might be the captain. So it's very important for us to all wake up and learn how to move our various companies forward. And remember, if you do it so well for someone, you will do it well when it's your turn. You won't have always forever work for someone. Someday you'll be working for yourself, and some of those skills you develop at the time you're leaving will not stay back in the company. They will go with you. So if you learn to cheat and shunt in someone's business, you will take that away to your own business. And believe me, your subconscious won't remember who is boss or who owns the company. It is the skills you have developed for it that it will give you back.
The edge, yeah.
A lot of people who are not successful in business are terrible at even governance and politics, because you can't give what skills you don't have. A lot of people are shouting Peter Obi. Sorry, I can't overemphasize giving reference to him, because he's done well for himself at business, and you can only give what you have. When people complain that he's stingy, that's the same way he's prudent in his own business. And when you give him positions, he tries to maintain the same standards. There's other people I've seen who maintain very low quality and flashy projects as government political leaders, and I've gone back to check some of their own individual projects. Same quality, looks very fanciful but not functional and durable, even in their own personal projects. So if you think you've learned to cheat, believe me, you cheat everyone around you. And remember, they always say charity begins at home. So skills you don't develop are the same undeveloped skills you will take home, and it will affect every single thing in your life. So make up your mind today to improve on the quality of skills that you have. Practice them for someone else, so that when it's your turn, it would have become a part of you.
And it will be smooth sailing. Another thing that we can't also overemphasize is in the workplace is that, you know, there's a saying that says a leader is a follower and a follower is a leader. And that a leader has to be 2 steps ahead of the followers. And one of the qualities that you need as that leader is to be able to get people to do what they ordinarily will not want to do, but guided with love and respect. It goes back to what you were saying about teamwork and stuff like that. However, there's a huge challenge when it comes to understanding boundaries. People don't understand their boundaries. They don't understand the body language and the kind of words that they use towards their bosses, and it's a huge problem. And the over familiarity is a no. There needs to be a very thin line, You find sometimes your bosses will come and they start hugging their staff and stuff. When they come in, they're not properly dressed.